saw the setting of the sun over frozen fields last night. And I know that Christmas Day will come with the early morning light. But may it be forever on our hearts. May we not forget when it grows dark. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Oh, I heard the ringing of the bell sounding out so clear and bright.
この上で食べるの
And all the voices chiming in as well, singing holy, holy
何
night.
も食べていいの
But,
みんなはいい
oh, let it be more than
うん
words we say. May we be reflections every day. Let us not forget to live all year. With the eyes to see and ears to hear. Merry Christmas.
これはシャンスル食べ食えない
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry
美味しいでしょ。